Well, there we are. Look at that.
Look
You
at
got
that
a nice little
shadow.
that's the shadow of the camera apparatus from the sun behind us, which is, kind of cool. It's kind of awesome.
The sun is shining.
And it's a beautiful day here in southeastern Michigan. And it's another beautiful day to talk about pools, so we figured we would have another conversation with Ask the Pool Girl and Ask the Pool Guy. I'm Al and you're Sandy, right?
Right. And we are coming to you from the Steampunk Mansion.
We are doing that for sure. So I did have something that I wanted to mention. I know this is just sort of a casual conversation. We hadn't really predetermined what it would be about. But I've had something on my mind a little bit, and a couple weird things have happened. They're not weird; they're just kind of normal life things, but I thought would be worth mentioning. So, as you all know, we met Lucas from Lucas Lagoons, a couple years ago, and then there's a project that he, because of the TV show, which good for him, that he gets calls from around the country to build a pool, and he gets one in our general area, not really a community that we work in, but so I have a fairly good friend in the business who is hired by him to do the plumbing. And then as the time goes on, and this is a fairly sizable project in terms of scope and time to build, and when you think about the difficulty of building, your home base is Florida, and you're responsible for a pool in Michigan being constructed, and I imagine the nightmare of all the subcontract to try to get this massive project done. So John tells me about it, and then he's basically becomes the Michigan connection for pool guys for Lucas to build here, and so that's all working out fine. And of course, he sends me a video of something that he thought I would appreciate, that I thought was pretty cool. And while it's fine, here's the, after having built up what I was going to say, here's the letdown. It's fine. And you know what fine is to us? Fine is kind of the kiss of death. When we talk about something being fine, fine is it's adequate, but it's not great. And which is what I found, that video of what he sent me was fine, but certainly not spectacular. And I wasn't going to say that because it's not my deal, but it leads into the conversation that I would like to at least start with. So that happens. Well then, of course, we know John. John hires someone else we know, Nate, to do some concrete pumping at this project. So Nate, given the opportunity to go and see this sensational project that he hears about, gets hired to pump concrete, and Nate gets there and is kind of gravely disappointed in what it is. So Nate goes, yeah, what do you think of this? And he pulls a couple pictures up on his phone, and he goes, I wasn't really that impressed. And it wasn't all that anything. Well, it was the same feature that John had sent a video of, which, while okay, wasn't inspiring. And I recognized and realized the term that we use for this all the time, and it completely applies to that scenario, is custom plastic. So here's this, not taking anything away at all from Lucas Lagoons and what they're able to do. I applaud them to be able to do this. But I do kind of have this contrary view when in their TV show they say, we build things that no one else can build. And to me, that is a complete and total false statement. Because I imagine that there are 1,000 builders in our country alone that could build what they build, and probably do build every day. But so it was really interesting to see this progression that I keep hearing about, and it all lines up to custom plastic normal. But there's someone famous building it. Lucas has a name. I get that, and that's worth something. I mean, he deserves to make the money because it's worth it. But the customer isn't getting anything other than the story, which is the power of the story. They can say, we had him build it. That part is awesome. The product itself is fine. So I thought that'd be kind of something to touch on, because people have probably heard us talk about custom plastic, but I don't know that we could put into words what that means, other than a few stories that we have been able to witness. Another story outside of the pool business was, remember when we went to visit a home in Fort Worth, Texas, which exclusive community, you know, beautiful homes from the exterior. Obviously people spend tons and tons and tons of money on these homes. And we walked through the home, had a very custom plastic cool pool, which everyone wanted to ask us about, like we were going to be impressed by. And, you know, of course, these are gracious people, and you don't want to go, yeah, it's custom plastic boring, but, you know, so you say, yeah, it's not exactly what we do, because they want to compare. What was really interesting about that trip was we were there as part of a group, and we were invited to this person's home. He was doing the evening event for this convention we were at, and there is a custom cabinet builder from Canada, has a very large kitchen cabinet company. And remember our conversation with him on the veranda or the deck overlooking the project. And when we tried to articulate what we mean by the word custom plastic, he completely got it. You know, that there's just no character in it. It's, while the term custom means expensive, there's no wholesomeness about it. There's a brand new feel, and typically brand new feel doesn't elicit emotion. It elicits, ooh, that's brand new. Oh, that's perfect, but doesn't feel right. And so I've been reflecting on that, this thing happening with each of these pool guys that I know, and then was thinking about that trip when we did see this very beautiful home that was entirely and totally custom plastic. And I wanted to ask you and reflect on that, because I'm having such a challenge with mentally trying to explain what that means. I wondered if maybe we could banter a bit back and forth in terms of what's the difference between sort of original art and fun and amazing, and custom plastic, which is normal.
Well, I think that sums it up right there. Custom plastic, you can go to the store and off the shelf you can buy this exquisitely expensive item. Take lighting, for example.
Which is a great example there.
Go in and you can buy a light fixture for $250.
Or $500 or $600 or $700.
And you can put that light fixture on the wall behind you, and it's a custom light fixture that you just plopped on the wall. So I think there's a few layers to well thought out placement of something that goes with the composition and is cohesive. I also think there's something to the story of sourcing items. You know, not just going into a store and saying, I'll take one of these and one of these and one of these. And I think when it comes to the custom plastic pools, that's kind of what I feel like. It's somebody could walk in a showroom and say, well, I want one of those and one of those and one of those. And the builder says, okay. And then they schmuck them all on the pool.
And they call them custom.
Then you have it. The opportunity exists, as you and I know, that people are looking for more. They're looking for more of the story. They want something enjoyable. I don't really think people strive for custom plastic. Like, they don't say, I would really like a custom plastic pool or a custom plastic house.
But they don't know any different.
I don't
That's
know
the thing,
sometimes that they know how to ask for it. But that's why I believe that we are so unique. Because if we see something on the shelf and we say, okay, I'd like to use that, well, first we'd like to add a little bit of our story to it. So we want to dent it or patina it or put our own spin on it, take something and combine it with something else to do something in a new way. because then it's not as if it just came off the shelf. It's got more
It has a feel to it,
of
character.
more of an energy that goes with it.
Well, all right, so you mentioned lighting, and I think let's use this example because it's like happening right now. Is if someone were to walk into a lighting store and buy a wall sconce and pay $700 or $500 or even $200 for that matter, or we could step it back and go Home Depot, and you go to your big box store and you buy your $120 light fixture and you put it up, and it kind of has to be perfect. Like the color has to be exact, and all the screws and everything have to be perfect for you to mentally say that was worth spending $120 or $500, $600, $700, which, here's the story behind that, is I ran across a deal, a guy at a flea market that clearly had massive amounts of lighting that he got somewhere. Must have bought out a warehouse, must have who knows what. And here he's got these light fixtures laying on the table that still have the original stickers on them from the showroom of $200, $300, $500, $600, $700 light fixtures. And I'm like, well, how much do you want for this one? And he goes, $10. So I'm like, okay, what if I make a deal? And I start loading, and I build a table, and I put 15 light fixtures on there. And some of them are massively cool fixtures that are clearly $500, $600, $700 fixtures. And then there's a couple that are, $200 fixtures. None of these are big box store fixtures. Either are like the more exclusive. And he goes, well, with that many, let's just do $10 a piece for all of them. And I bought a truckload of them, which I think was a great deal. Can't go wrong there. Well, today I go back there knowing that he was going to be there 2 weeks later. I go back, and of course he's there, and I fill my truck, and I fill a table and go, okay, how much? He goes, well, I'll give you the same deal, $10 a piece, 1, 2, 3, 4, 18, 19, 20, 20, and I fill the truck, and then I figure out, okay, if I put as many in the back of the truck as I can, then there's still room. So I went back and I bought another 10 or 12 fixtures from him. But what that got me to thinking was, we can now take that $500 fixture and give it character, and give it funness, and give it something beyond the
Spray
normal.
paint.
Right, spray
Or we
paint
can
or
disassemble it
modifications and
and
use
then-
pieces or
yeah.
whatever. And now that once retail $700 fixture purchased for $10 at the flea market, brand new. Like most of them today
Brand new in the plastic.
they've never come out of the box.
Yeah.
So we take them out of the box, we do our funky town time to them, have fun with them, make them interesting, make them fun, not boring, stodgy, schmuck them on the wall because they're brand new looks. And we give them this yummy character to them, and now we can use them for everything.
We add art we add an element of art to everything we touch.
Mm-hmm. And now you take this $700 fixture, purchased for $10, $4 of spray paint and modifying and some labor and some time and whatever, and it becomes literally a priceless piece of
art.
a part of a whole organizational thing that we're building, a whole environment.
Well, as I was going through the boxes, I was looking at the price tags thinking, well, I could Facebook Marketplace some things. I buy a lot of things on Facebook
So you could
Marketplace.
flip those for
I could
bunches
turn
of
it
money.
into more money.
Or-
However, that's not really what they're intended for at this point.
Yeah. Or let's just understand that we got the deal of the century, and let's turn them into things that we can use and enjoy, and other people will
Hey.
enjoy.
Levi.
And it's all of that, and that kind of breaks that mold of custom plastic. That, what was I mentioned to the guy, he knew the last time I talked to him, he knew that we built pools, and I just happened to mention, I said, yeah, all this stuff will end up on the shelves, and we'll turn each one of them into a low voltage fixture and use them somewhere. And he kind of perked up. He goes, low voltage? I have a whole box of low voltage stuff over here that I had no idea who would ever buy it from me, but let me show you. And he opens this box, and here's a dozen, probably 10 light fixtures that are currently low voltage, high end, custom. Someone, I don't know who, but they have price tags of hundreds of dollars a piece on them
for like
a single light fixture.
literally a $10.
And he goes, well, let's take them out of the packages. I'm like, no, just how much for the whole box? Where he undid one, and it was a glass one with the flower, which was really pretty. And he goes, how about $20 for all of them? Sold.
Yeah.
I'll just take them all. Yeah, I had no idea what was in there, but it didn't matter because the one fixture is clearly worth that, let alone a dozen of them, which are the high-end, expensive, exclusive. Not one matched.
No.
That's what we want. We don't want them to match. We want to have this creative flavor of something, because when we're doing a theme like a Caribbean theme, you know, if you've been to the Caribbean, anywhere in the Caribbean, you don't walk into any small community that is like jiving and awesome. Nowhere do you see every fixture matching and every color matching and every stone the same. You see seashells on the wall and pieces of glass here and one type of fixture here and a different thing over here. And that's why you love it so much. Yeah. Because it's part of something unique. It's not custom plastic. As soon as you try to recreate that, great example, we'll go to this one. We had a customer we built a pool for, and then he hired us to build a wine cellar inside, which after they had spent unbelievable amounts of money. I think that the kitchen renovation was 150 grand before they tore it out and did it again the first time around. And they did this all over the house, and we built one teeny tiny little 2-part room with a wine cellar in this little room. And they both admitted that was a favorite place in their house. Just this little dinky under the porch or the front, down in the basement room. Well, they wanted an Irish pub. So there was already a bar there, which was adequate. And it wasn't bad, but it was adequate. But he wanted to turn it into an Irish pub. And of course, what he did was hire the professional builder to build all custom grade cabinets / walls / trim. They trimmed it out to the nines, and it was as custom plastic as you could imagine at a massively huge price. But what he was looking for was Irish pub, 200-year-old pub with worn out edges, with beat up walls, with scuffs where the chairs had been pushed back against the wall. That's what he was looking for. But in his mind, I thought, well, geez, if he hired me to build this, he would freak out if I stuck brand new wood on the walls and then I took a hammer and started beating it. But that's how we would accomplish that. And I realized, again, he now has a custom plastic hybrided Irish pub, which will never feel like an Irish pub that he's hoping to experience. He's buying something new, wanting something that feels old or feels something special. And those are the things that I don't know how we put into words. And that's why we try to explain what living style of life versus lifestyle living is paying attention to how things make you feel. What is it that makes you feel a certain way? Why do you like the things you like? And there's some people that like white walls and straight lines and brand new everything, and they're thrilled when it's a sparkly crystal chandelier with perfect color, perfect, no anything, no dimension to it. That's not our customer. But that's someone's customer, and that's okay if they know that that's what they want. But most people, when they articulate the words, they don't know how to explain it, so I don't know how we explain it either, but they're looking for something that makes them feel a certain way. And that's what this anti-custom plastic movement that I'm talking about is all about.
Well, and it's likely harder to find people that can translate it in that way, because how many people do you know that you could hire right now to build or make something in the way that we do, whether it's a home or a pool or a landscape? We're occupying a very unique
space
in terms of what we offer, and people end up absolutely loving it. But it's a rarer thing.
Yeah.
I believe.
Well, I think there's an interesting phenomenon also, being that we've spent so much time online in the public view with YouTube and even podcasts, that I think most people have no idea the depth of what we build and the craziness of what we build.
Okay, I'm watching puppies, and I just have to say
They're crazy fun.
There's hackles. If you wanted to know what a hackle is, Emmy has her hackles up. Look at, she has her
hair is straight up on her back.
mohawk, because they're just romping and playing.
Romping and playing.
I'm assuming you can see that. Yep, you can
Yep,
see
they can
that.
see it.
They
As
are
we
so
have puppies
cute,
all
though.
over the
They're
place.
so
Again,
cute.
just part of our style of life is that the dogs are a part of everything we do. On the job, at the office, at home, we're surrounded by these little bundles of joy that keep us happy and help us, remind us to be happy every minute, because they're excited whenever they see us. They're happier when they knock the camera over. It's just a part of us. But I think there's so much room for this way of being. The challenge with it, which most people, and this is probably why it doesn't happen. I've tried to boil this down as to why there's not more people doing this, because it's all encompassing. It's all of our time. We spend our, but it's the joy part. I love to hit the flea market and see what's available and pick up a couple custom or a couple old wood water skis, because I know we're going to need them for a project, or see something on the side of the road, or pull off into a new location and stop at the flea market there, or the antique shop, or the garage sale, or whatever, because we're going to need that stuff. And that's what takes time.
Yeah.
It would be really difficult for us to build this way if we started with a blank slate and said, okay, we need to go out and buy this, and this. Number one, the budget would have to be massive, because you'd have to go buy retail for everything and then take it. So remember that $800 fixture that we're going to beat up and turn into something really cool and Caribbean looking? We would have to go pay the $800 for it and then go beat it up and make it look like, versus seeing it. And here's the key. In the aftermarket, secondary market, tertiary market, when you see something, buy it. Don't, well, I don't need it right now, so maybe I'll come back and get it. It's gone. You go to an antique shop, and if there's something that's interestingly cool, buy it.
Well, pick it up
as much as you can,
and don't put it down.
Yes, because if you set it down, it'll be gone. And that's one of those things, and that's why that's part of the philosophy, is we've had to invest for the long haul. That's why when you come visit us, we encourage anybody to come visit us. You'll see we have a crazy environment, a crazy cool thing, but all of this stuff is functionally usable.
Yeah.
And that's the part I don't think people anticipate, because all they're thinking about is building the next pool, having the supplies to build the next pool, and can I get it from the supplier, and which lights do I need, and which whatevers, and that's like secondary to us. That doesn't matter, because we're looking at, when we finish this, how is it going to make someone feel? So we're far less worried about having the basic supplies, and we're more concerned with having the cool part of the supplies, and then the rest of it works itself out.
Yeah.
But it takes some effort. It takes some forethought, and also you have to be a little bit crazy. We've had to be a little crazy to think that this was possible and then make it possible. Absolutely. I don't think we could have been doing this and then figured out how to make it possible. We had to start living this way and recognizing that you speak things into existence. So as quick as you make a decision, as fast as you make a decision about something, and you really believe it in your heart, it happens like that. Doesn't matter what it is. This happens over and over and over to us. As soon as you decide in your mind that this is what you want, the world, the universe conspires to hand it to you on a platter.
Well, then, what are we asking? What are we deciding we want next?
Well, that's the $18 million question at the moment, because with the state of the world the way it is, I don't even know how to ask for something. I mean, any of the little things, yes, whatever, in terms of what the future holds, I don't even know how to ask the question or phrase the question.
That is true.
I want to continue to do this, but I don't even know what this looks like with the way that the world is right now, pre-election 2020, crazy world COVID bullcrappery that's going on. I can't even fathom. I mean, I love the little victories and I love the things that continue to happen for us, and I will always ask for those. But in terms of like that projected future,
What's
unbelievable.
next?
What's
Yeah.
next? Yeah. I mean, we're looking at some amazingly cool projects to work on
Uh-oh, we're going to get barkers.
moving forward. Yeah, and so I don't even quite know how to express what I think is
What's next?
the next thing to ask for.
Well, let's
I mean, we
ponder
could ask
that.
for world peace. We could ask
We
for
could ask for
a
world
president.
peace, and then
We could ask
the
for
president could be signing
world peace
world
all
peace
over the world,
agreements, getting people to the table.
and no one
That
talking about
when
it.
I was in school, like the stuff going on in the world today would have been like the most major, unbelievable deal ever. And I know some of the news media is barely covering it. So that's astounding to me.
It is astounding.
Yeah,
That's how different the world is.
it is.
I
Well,
mean, I certainly think, though, just to sort of wrap that up, I think that we are on a trajectory and a line where, as long as we continue to be committed to doing it, it's going to continue opening up cooler, fun, exciting projects. I don't think we have any future prospect of not having cool work. I think it's going to come down to, do we really want to even do it with the state of the world? And not being an alarmist, just being a realist, that the world is just wacky right now. And while I love this, and I think what we're building is exceptional, I think we're going to continue to hit home runs. I just don't know what those home runs are going to look like.
yeah.
So
Well, stay tuned. You can find out with us as we find out
as we travel this journey,
what will come next. All right, I think that's a good
it's good place to
Good.
wrap. Yeah.
good
Nice and
stop
short,
for
short
today.
and sweet.
There you go. All right. Also, I want to talk to you about the honeybee situation. that we
Okay.
have. Yep.